I'm dying. The thing I wanted to highlight next was how I'm handling LODs. Now, I know Godot 4 has an automatic LOD system, but if you're like me, you probably are already making your own LODs. So here's an example of it running a small scene with about just over 200 trees. And so this is with my custom LOD off. And well, I get around 60 FPS looking at the entire scene. It dips down to 40. Even when it's reading in the like high 50s, it still feels choppy. Like it doesn't feel great to walk around. It looks very pretty though. So now with it on, you can see I haven't done my, you know, the cards that you have for like far distance objects, like a drawing of the thing. I haven't done those yet. So looking at the scene, you'll see it's like a lot of big blobby squares, but as we approach, the trees pop in and their LODs are swapped. Let's look into how it works. So it's broken up into a few things. The main part of it is what I'm calling the LOD Brain, and what this is a spatial node, and inside of it are 3 area 3Ds. The first being the LOD area O, or 0, which is the area closest to the player. It's going to be like stuff you're directly interacting with, the things you're closest to, other characters. And so that's our, you know, high res looking stuff. And then we have our LOD area 1, which is a slightly larger rhombus. And then our LOD area 2, which is a much larger, that kind of goes way further back behind the player than may be necessary. Okay, so how this thing works. It's pretty straightforward, but it's easy to mess it up. So our LOD area O, when a body or an area enters it, I run a little check LOD script. And if we go down to check LOD, we've got thing and LOD. And thing is basically, it's either a body or an area. I just called it thing because I'm silly. We then start checking the other LOD bins to make sure they do not have this current thing. If they do, we remove it from that bin. And the reason we do that is if I turn to face a character that was in a very low LOD state, all 3 of my areas are going to overlap onto them at the same time. Because of that, all the bins are going to get added this character, and then it's going to cycle through them, and you're going to watch that character or the tree or whatever it is change its shape awkwardly in front of you. And so to avoid that, I'm using arrays, and I'm basically just putting a reference to the object, be it an area or a rigid body, static body, whatever it is, into it. And so once they're in the bin, in my physics process delta, I have a ticker. And a ticker, I've heard other people have different names for these. I basically set a tick rate. And this way, I can still use the physics process, but I'm not updating every frame. And so my process LOD script, once that's called, we get the bin that, I get the bin I want. And then for L in clamp, get batch size. We then run through however many we can. So in the bin, we run through, let's say if we're doing LOD O, 32 of them. If it is a valid instance, we pass the LOD script onto it. So let's go to a piece of fruit. We got our cute little fruity tooty over here. So if the LOD is greater or equal to 2, we put it into static mode. We toggle collision. Hello from the future, coming to scold myself for giving bad dev information. So in my original script, I was enabling and disabling all the collision objects in my fruit. And if it hasn't clicked yet, I'll do my best to explain the issue with that. Once we've disabled the collision shape, it would mean that the area LOD script being used to trigger collisions back on would no longer be able to identify the object. hence the disabled collisions. So I've amended that, and in its place, what we're doing is we're just setting the collision layer and mask bit. If you saw the earlier video and have already somehow implemented it into your game, you're one of the 19 people who saw it. I'm very sorry. But yes, we can now return back to the original video. The fruit is free, and in the case of a fruit, free just means it's not attached to a tree or stuck in a bin or just sleeping. I'm just using free because it's a toggle I can use when I'm dropping fruit into the editor. If I want to place them manually, I can decide if they're loose or not. And then finally we get to the LOD part of it, and for the fruit it's fairly straightforward. We're swapping the mesh, so we're just grabbing from preloaded resources on a script. Now we can show off my my Blender file. We're just going to look at the top trees, and the top trees are the kind of like palm tree looking ones. So this is my, I almost called this a sprite sheet. This has all of the different LOD states, and so you can see my leaves only have 3 models because we swapped to the card on the last LOD state. But the trunks, we go from 174 to 88, and then we jump down to 46. And our last one, 28. And so like, yeah, and same thing with the fruit. You'll notice there's a baby version of the fruit as well, because this game is really about your kind of experience with nature and like paying attention and making decisions based on like your observations in nature. I'm gonna get a little into like my philosophy behind my game now. So if you're only here for the GD Godot stuff, thanks for coming. Also support the channel, please, in any way you can. It's a very difficult time for us right now. Yeah. Sorry. My idea to make a fishing game has always been like, I'm just going to be out there with it. It's a queer allegory, but it's not a game necessarily for queer people. Just the feeling of kind of escaping society, like escaping a place that feels oppressive and like isn't necessarily meeting your needs, and finding these intricate systems in nature. Everyone's making a fishing game now. I know I'm late to the party finishing this, but to not follow through with it now would just feel devastating. This shit is like in my blood at this point, much like the coronavirus. Anyway, that's my LOD system. That's a little bit of the philosophy behind the game. Thank you so much for hanging out with me while I'm sick. I'm really hoping that I'm on the home stretch. My partner cannot taste anything. My sense of taste is severely diminished. It's pretty bullshit, and I have this urgency in me. Like I gotta finish this, and it feels like I'm still at the start, like because I keep starting over. But yeah, let's all hope that my LOD system is rock solid. Again, thanks for watching, and see you guys soon.